Trump just left Beijing with nothing. And the whole world saw it happen in real time. Here's the setup. Trump flew to China for what his team was billing as a grand geopolitical masterstroke. The plan was simple on paper: pressure Xi Jinping to lean on Iran, use China's economic leverage — Beijing buys 90% of Iranian oil — to force Tehran into a deal, reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and hand Trump a victory he could take home to voters furious about gas prices already past $4.50 a gallon. That was the plan. 2 days in Beijing, 2 hours of direct talks between the two most powerful leaders on earth, and Trump was going to walk out with China in his corner. Instead, Air Force One lifted off from Beijing and the narrative collapsed almost immediately. The Chinese Foreign Ministry issued a statement that didn't even mention Iran by name, not once. Their official readout referred only to an exchange of views on major international and regional issues. That deliberate omission was not an accident. It was a message. And while Trump was still on Chinese soil, something happened in the waters of the Gulf that made the failure impossible to ignore. Watch this.
Has Trump's China trip already ended in complete failure even before it officially concludes? Oil prices are skyrocketing even as Trump begs Xi for help in controlling Iran.
In the past hour, Air Force One took off from Beijing. Donald Trump wrapping up his visit after a major summit earlier with Chinese leader Xi Jinping.
There it is. Iran blocking the Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical shipping choke points on earth, and opening it for one country only, China, not because of any deal Trump brokered, not because Xi applied any pressure, but because China stayed neutral. Tehran rewarded that neutrality with access and punished American aggression with closed waters, and the timing was not a coincidence. While Trump and Xi were still posing for photographs inside the Zhongnanhai leadership compound, Iranian media confirmed that more than 30 Chinese ships had already been granted safe passage through the strait under what Tehran calls a permit-based shipping corridor. A Chinese supertanker carrying 2 million barrels of Iraqi crude sailed through on Wednesday and continued into the Gulf of Oman without incident. Iran's foreign minister put it plainly at the BRICS meeting in New Delhi, happening at the exact same moment. The strait is open to vessels that cooperate with Iranian naval forces. The ones that don't, meaning American and allied ships, get closed waters. This is what Beijing's neutrality actually bought. Not a promise from Xi, not a joint statement. Access. Real, operational, economic access that China's trade networks can use right now. And Trump got none of it. The only thing Trump claimed as a concrete win was this. He told Fox News that Xi had strongly promised not to supply military equipment to Iran. That's a big statement, Trump said. But here's the problem. The Chinese government has not confirmed this. Not a single Chinese official went on record. Beijing's own readout of the summit does not mention any such commitment. And given that the Financial Times reported Iran used Chinese satellite technology to strike U.S. bases in the Gulf, and Middle East Eye reported Chinese air defense systems reached Iran as recently as April, a verbal promise to Sean Hannity is not exactly a verified policy shift. Meanwhile, Trump himself accidentally revealed something critical. He admitted to Hannity that finding Iran's enriched uranium was, in his own words, more for public relations than anything else. Think about what that means. The stated justification for this entire conflict, Iran's nuclear program, was described by the president himself as a PR exercise. And yet, despite 2 days of talks, there is no indication China agreed to pressure Iran on its nuclear program at all. Trump's own base is starting to notice. A prominent longtime MAGA media operative publicly broke with the president just before the summit, calling his Iran policy a disgusting betrayal and telling his followers the Trump era was fun while it lasted, but were cooked. He also flagged something deeply troubling. Oil short options worth $760 million were allegedly placed just 20 minutes before Trump announced the Strait of Hormuz was open, only for Iran to close it again, generating enormous profits for whoever was positioned in advance. That story has not gone away. Here is the bigger picture. The BRICS foreign ministers were meeting in New Delhi at the exact moment Trump was in Beijing. Iran's foreign minister addressed that gathering. Russia, China, India, Brazil, South Africa, Egypt, Ethiopia. This is the bloc that is building an alternative to the US-led international order. And China is not going to sacrifice its leadership role within that structure for the sake of a temporary accommodation with a president who may be out of office in 2 years. Beijing played this summit perfectly. It gave Trump the optics of a meeting, the pageantry of the Great Hall of the People, and a few vague trade announcements. In return, it gave up absolutely nothing on Iran. Trump flew home. Oil prices kept rising. The strait stayed closed to American allies, and China's ships kept sailing through. The question now is not whether the Beijing summit failed. It clearly did. The question is what Washington does next, with a shrinking military, a depleted arsenal, and a president who just got outmaneuvered on the world stage in front of